welcome to the podcast, number 18. I had to write that down. Number 18. It seems like longer, because I've been doing these. This is not really number 18. This is more like 38, but I rebooted when I joined Pants Pending.
Oh, got it. Okay.
All right, so we've got a lot of talk about. I've got a lot of emails that I've been not paying attention to, so I'm going to respond to those later on. We're also going to talk about things. I don't know if we're going to get to it on the video. Obviously, this is being video recorded as well. I'm going to release the tapes, and so I'm going to release them on YouTube. I need to apologize to my wife because I told her while we were doing these podcasts, don't look at the camera, and apparently it seemed weird, so now she's looking at the camera. So I just thought, because I see a lot of podcasts that have cameras and they're not looking at the camera, but I guess it is weird since the camera's looking right at us and it's not kind of off to the corner or anything. So
you're addressing your audience, so I think
well, see,
to some extent you need to look their direction. I
guess. On Never Not Funny, the camera is at an angle, and so they get both hosts so it looks like they're talking to each other.
Oh, okay.
And then on Bob and Tom, the camera is facing down towards the table. So it's kind of like they're talking regular, and they're never looking at the camera. So I'm just going off of what I've seen, and that's just...
I haven't researched, and apparently...
I research.
This is what you do. So.
This is what I do. So if you're looking for a guy who you need to produce a podcast, it's called BURR.
I think you're going another direction with that.
Direction do you think I was going with?
Well, if you're looking for a guy who knows
I get plenty of those. I don't need to advertise for that. They come right to me. I'm talking about I would like to produce podcasts for people. That's where that's going.
I thought this time maybe you were looking for women because, all those guys are...
Oh, it'd be great to just have one woman just go, you're really cute. Maybe a marriage proposal from a woman would just be really different.
You're in a girl's tank top with a plant on your head.
I know.
Okay, so I think that's asking a little much.
Let's not forget I think it was today, was Pride Day or something like that. And so I got another message on YouTube, and thank you, sir. But thank you for the compliment.
Good for you.
I'm not saying I would guess it. I'm just saying I'd like to even it out a little bit. From guys giving me marriage proposals to the women who not down there. So
no, you had the booty shot from the one girl. I think that's.
I'm sure she gave the booty shot to anybody that was famous because she had him at the ready, and it just seemed like something. I looked at her Instagram, and yes, I profiled her. I thought she looked like someone who would just get me out of my country. Looked like a lot of. I really want to leave this country. Okay. Can you please get me out of here? That's what that looked like.
Got it.
Anyway, you know what? I want to dedicate this podcast to Adam West, who we lost today. I remember sitting in the tack room with the black and white television with Gary Bosquet and Stephen Perry, and we would watch the Batman, and then it would be Wonder Woman. And to me, that was kind of my first superhero, was seeing Batman. Yeah. I mean, that was the first kind of superhero TV show. And Superman was around there. It was in black and white, and that was cool too. But Batman was in color, because that was one of their selling points, in color. We lost Yvonne Craig. We lost Batgirl 2 years ago. And Burt Ward is the only one left. That's gotta be... Robin is his last stand.
Well, he was the youngest, so...
I guess, it makes me sad.
At least on this show. I don't know, chronologically.
And I hate myself... To this very day, I had an autograph of Burt Ward I got at the local Kmart in early 70s. I mean, I couldn't have been more than 10. And he was sitting at a Kmart. And I thought, even as a kid, I'm like, this is weird. It's at a Kmart. But he was a really nice guy and everything. And I had a chance to meet Burt Ward and Adam West 2 years ago at Emerald Con. And I took my money and I went to go see Dirk Benedict instead. Oh. But he was, he's Starbuck. He's on the A-Team. Yeah. He had 3 shows that I loved, and Adam West and Burt Ward had the one. So I took 3 to 1. Battlestar Galactica and A-Team were huge, yeah. So anyway, Adam West. What do they do this? We saw Wonder Woman today.
That was good.
Which was really good. Thank you, DC, for finally getting it right. Oh no, the dog's
Get out of there.
That can't happen. Like 3 times, man.
Oh my God.
I was listening to the podcast 3 times, and just like this little green smoke would just come slowly up. Like
And you can't just sit there and pretend it's not there.
Oh, you can't.
It just.
Because every time you breathe in to talk, it's hello. So Wonder Woman was great, and I really liked it. I said so again, and it reminded me. Okay, so next podcast, for the video podcast, we'll enjoy more than the audio, is I think I'm going to agree to that. I'm going to give you a squirt gun, and you can squirt me. Now just watch, I have equipment and I have notes, but you can squirt me every time I say so or like too many times.
Like a teenager saying and then we went to
so you were, because I realize I do that a lot and I'm trying to stop that. So
okay.
So next video podcast,
that works.
I mean, people will hear it on the audio of me going, hey, but we'll see. All right, so Wonder Woman was really good. Everybody was saying it was amazing and the best movie they've ever seen. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a great Wonder Woman movie. I don't know if it was the best movie I've seen this year. I think that still goes to Guardians.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was really good. It's the best DC has ever done, don't you think?
Since Dark Knight with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That to me is
that one's got to be.
That to me is a 9.5.
Yeah.
Everything is perfect in that movie,
except
for the last 10 minutes. Christian Bale's voice just really starts to get on me. Just because it almost feels like he's hurting himself to get to that point.
It was too much.
It was just the last 10 minutes of him doing that. Other than that, it's a spot on. But Guardians is the only one that, I teared up at the end. Yeah. I wanted to at this one because everything that's going on in the country and Manchester and London and it's Wonder Woman and you want to feel patriotic and you want to yes and the good guys win. I really wanted that moment. I just didn't get that that patriotic let's cheer moment.
Well, because at that point she's not fighting for the USA.
Truth and justice and all that. Yeah.
She's fighting against, good and evil, and
it was nice to see Nazis back on.
Yeah.
It was nice to fight Nazis.
Nazis are always good in a comic.
Well, I think that's why Crystal Skull failed. Everybody went, oh, Russians. Indiana Jones needs to fight Nazis. That's what he was born for.
The fact that Indiana Jones had aliens, it was...
Okay.
I'm sorry, but...
I know.
It was a little out of the realm for...
I'm gonna say, though, I liked Crystal Skull more than I liked Last Crusade. Because when I rewatch that, Sean Connery gets on my nerves. Junior, he gets on my nerves.
He's supposed to get on your nerves, though. He's the irritating.
And I get it. That would probably be what it would be like with me and my dad on an adventure. Maybe that's it. Maybe it hits too close to home, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. Quit calling people racist names, Dad. But all in all, I liked Wonder Woman. I thought she did a great job. So that was that. Yeah. But that leads into the theme of the podcast. Is I asked people what's the weirdest and the dumbest and the strangest thing people have gotten mad at, because Alamo Drafthouse did a thing. Oh, where is it? I have it in my show notes here. Hang on a second. So Alamo Drafthouse in Austin did a female-only Wonder Woman thing where they only let females in. Yeah, they only let females in to watch it. It was one time slot, one theater in the whole world. So of course somebody's got to be mad. And it's
I wanted to go at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Right? It's so ridiculous that somebody is mad about that. So I know you don't know about this, and maybe some of the listeners don't, but I wanted to read. This is, let me check my show notes in case I'm out of order here. Okay, so this is the letter that the mayor of Austin received from somebody who was upset. It's kind of long, so I'm going to try and go through it as fast as I can, but The only way I think I can do this is in the voice of Comic Book Guy, because it just reads like that. I hope every man will boycott Austin and do what he can to diminish Austin and to cause damage to the city's image. The theater that pandered to the sexism typical of women will, I hope, regret its decision. The notion of a woman hero is a fine example of women's eagerness to accept the appearance of achievement without actual achievement. Women learn from an early age to value makeup, that it's okay to pretend that you are greater than you actually are. Women pretend they do not know that only men serve in combat because they are content to have an easier ride. Women gladly accept gold medals at the Olympics for coming in 10th and competing only against the second class of athletes. This is a real person, by the way. Gosh. Name something invented by a woman! Exclamation point. Achievements by the second-rate gender pale in comparison to virtually everything great in human history was accomplished by men, not women. If Austin does not host a men-only counter-event, by the way, that's called Fast and Furious movies, I will never visit Austin and will welcome its deterioration. The city of Austin is going to go into abyss because he's not seeing a movie. He's not watching Wonder Woman alone in a coat. And I will not forget that Austin is best known for Charles Whitman. Does Austin stand for gender equality or for kissing up to women? Don't bother to respond. I already know the answer. These are the people that I hate the most, as a person who goes, yeah, what do you think about that? I thought so. I do not hate women. I hate their rampant hypocrisy and the hypocrisy of the women's movement. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I don't think so.
Women do not want gender equality. They want more for women. I think that's the same thing.
Yes, if we're getting less, then we want more for it to be equal.
And again, don't bother to respond because I am sure your cowardice will generate nothing worth reading. In other words, you might prove me wrong, so I'm not going to read what you have to respond to.
This is a real person.
Richard A. Amaturdy. No, Amaduri.
Well, Richard's a fitting first name.
Richard, thank you,
Thanks, Richard. But, oh my gosh.
As David Tennant says, try not to be Richards.
Oh my gosh.
That's a real human being.
He's out there living and breathing all by himself because there's no way a woman has stuck with him ever.
Upset over one showing of a movie. One. It could have been like 10 o'clock or something. I mean, who knows? But
Good
really,
grief.
Is that the only time that Aryan Nation Arts and Crafts gets out so you can watch it? Just blew my mind. So the mayor is my new hero. He responded.
Okay.
Anyway, publicly. So hopefully this guy saw it. Now the mayor said, I'm writing to alert you that your email account has been hacked by an unfortunate and unusually hostile individual. Please remedy your account security right away, lest this person, uninformed and sexist rantings, give you a bad name. After all, we men have to look out for each other. Can you imagine if someone thought that you didn't know women could serve in our combat units now without exclusion? What if someone thought you didn't know that women invented medical syringes, life rafts, fire escapes, central and solar heating, and wartime communication systems for radio-controlling torpedoes that laid the technology foundation for everything from Wi-Fi to GPS? And also, beer. And I hesitate to imagine how embarrassed you'd be if someone thought you were upset that a private business was realizing a business opportunity by reserving one screening this weekend for women to see a superhero movie. You and I are serious men of substance with little time for the delicate sensitivities displayed by the pitiful creature who maligned your good name and sterling character by writing that abysmal email. I trust the news that your email account has been hacked does not cause you undue alarm and wish you well in securing your account. And in the future, should your travels take you to Austin, please know that everyone is welcome here, even people like those who write that email, whose views are an embarrassment to modern decency and common sense.
Good heavens.
That guy's out there.
He walks among us.
But he's not the only one. I mean, I read other things like that too, but one of the things that got me the most was somebody wrote, Yeah, can you imagine? A female superhero movie that's written well. We should all go see it anyway. Yeah, so that was just... that was one of the things that was kind of what stirred this whole theme, was I thought, really, man? There's kids starving out there. There's war and famine and floods and earthquakes and Trump, and you're gonna worry about the 10 a.m. showing of an all-women...
Yes.
You know he's sitting in his basement, and you hear, "Norman, do you have a computer?" "Shut up, Mom! I'm almost done. I'm almost done at the laptop. Leave me alone. You know I'm writing the mayor."
Oh my gosh. Knuckle dragon.
So that led me. Now, don't read the screen, because I'm going to read you some of these things.
You want these to be a surprise.
Oh, these
okay.
You thought he was a terrible human being.
Oh, there's more? There's worse?
Let's go to the board.
Oh.
All right, so Star Trek, what I think is a not a great idea in the first place is CBS is starting their own pay-per-view channel. And they're going to have the first episode of their new Star Trek series for free, and then you have to pay for it. CBS All Access. There's already Netflix and Hulu, and no one's going to pay for one channel.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of their... But they had a teaser for the new Star Trek. They're going to do it's USS Discovery. Everybody's calling it STD.
Okay. That's great.
Someone in the room probably should have said something. So, but the trailer showed a lot of glimpses of the new cast, which is shown not to have any white males. No white males are shown in the trailer.
Okay.
They're all, and they only kind of show the bridge crew. So, surprisingly, some white males who have it completely... As a white male, it is awesome. I mean, we get out of tickets, we go into stores, and we never get looked at like we're robbing the place. When we're walking down the sidewalk, no one sees us and goes on the other side of the road. Being a white male is awesome. Yet some people still have a problem with it.
You don't get out of tickets. The women get out of the tickets.
The women get out of...
Because we want something for nothing. We don't. Well, yeah. We want to get by on our looks and our makeup.
Well, you need to rush home and make a sandwich, because you're not busy inventing anything, that's for sure. So a few people had some responses. Wolfman Jack said is his name.
Okay. Now
I read this and I started to agree with him until I realized he was serious.
Oh,
and it was about he doesn't understand Star Trek the way 99.9% of the rest of us do. So
the rest of you nerds, or just the rest of
the rest of the world?
Okay.
My dad knows what Star Trek is like before this guy.
Star Trek.
Oh. There's an E in there. All right, so Wolfman Jack said, Star Trek, I don't know what SJW edition, I don't know what that is. Snore. This was bound to happen at some point, as mainstream PC culture thinks its progress somehow correlates with having less white males who are the biggest Star Trek fan base. I see his point here on. Yes, if you go to a Star Trek convention, a good majority is going to be white males. All right, I will give you that. The older shows were popular because of good writing and strong actors. I agree with that.
Except for Captain Kirk. We're using strong actors, right?
Why do you gotta bring that up? I think it's fine.
Never mind, go ahead.
To discuss gender and race identity politics rather than write good stories. Honestly, women also like strong male lead characters too. Also, the recent Star Trek movies were great. Why? Chris effing Pine. I agree with him there. I won't be surprised if they also make the captain trans or lesbian. Okay, now you're losing me. The captain looks like she was affirmative actioned onto the bridge. What a mess. This show will not make it past season 1. If we're lucky, they'll cut their losses. So, he was actually more PC than some of the other ones. Enough with your racial and gender quotas, Hollywood, said Darth Dread. Get rid of your name. You sully both of those names. Rick Deckard, you sully that name. That Chinese lady is miscast. Get someone who can speak proper English without the accent. Proper English. So you can understand it, dummy.
I'm sorry. We're talking about Star Trek, right? Not just...
Right.
The USA is the only one who ever sent just white people into space. And there's no diversity in Star Trek.
There was never diversity.
No, there never was.
I can't understand why these minorities are all here. Okay,
crap.
I get it. You want diversity, but could you at least have gotten a captain that can speak English properly? Okay, now understand what he said here. A captain that can speak English properly. Let me introduce you to the rest of what he said, and none of it has capitals or punctuation.
No.
F. Gimme Idris Elba. None of that is capitalized. When he was a captain before the Beyond movie during the wartime. This S looks low budget AF, like a Netflix series that got pitched to all actual networks.
This is someone who said properly?
This is a person who said a captain can speak English properly with no punctuation or capitalizations. His
girlfriend wrote the first line, and then he finished the rest of his post.
You know, I think he used the word girlfriend a little loosely.
His hoe.
Well, once he got done blowing her up anyway.
Okay.
All right. Oh, great. A woman captain again. Hey, a black
Who are
woman...
these people?
I know. A black woman captain. Yeah, think I'll pass. Do you not get what Star Trek is about? You're on a Star Trek forum complaining about Star Trek minorities. I don't like Star Wars. It's got all those lightsabers. It just... What is this Force thing?
I hope they don't go to any planets and find anybody other than white people on the planets who speak proper English.
But you know what? Let's finish with Burn Force and get to yours.
Okay.
Burn Force says, why not make the captain a transsexual too? Kill 3 birds with 1 stone. This just makes me sick. Trump will put an end to this liberal disease, MAGA. So, you know what? I'd like to ask Burn Force to stop watching Star Trek. I will pay for CBS Access. I will pay for me if he promises not to. That way they're not losing any money.
Oh my
These people are out there walking around and they're mad. There's so many things to be mad about, and you were upset about it. It's like getting mad at Darth Vader for wearing a helmet.
Star Trek had diversity in the 60s before there was much diversity.
Right.
I mean,
that's what it was famous for. Anybody remember the guy who was half white and half black, running around trying to catch the half black, half white guy?
Gosh, they need to go back to watching Duck Dynasty. That is the demographic right there. They just all need to get together and have a big screening.
Let me remind you, Duck Dynasty went several seasons, and the Neil deGrasse Tyson science TV show that taught us about the universe, 1 season. So that should tell you a little bit about where we're headed.
Brondo.
Are we great yet?
It's good for plants.
I just thought, you know what? I saw the other day 61% are just not with Trump anymore. I'm on that side now. If you're 100% listener or 100% for Trump, God bless you, but I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you anymore. I'm gonna make fun.
Just go water your plants with Mountain Dew and it'll all be good.
Right. I'm so far into this selfie dad thing that it's dropping off. And so whatever fame I have is pretty much done.
You're don't care what people think.
You're either with me or against me. So we're at the 23 mark on the video, and I want to make sure, because you had something for video. You had something because you're in my theme. You were called Hitler.
I was called Hitler.
You were called Hitler. Yes. And I'm so excited.
I was a Nazi today, apparently.
Yes. Yes, lots of Nazi things going on. You're like Wonder Woman. You're like Wonder Woman without the lasso.
I'm the opposite of Wonder Woman because I'm Hitler, apparently. So
you're like Dr. Poison.
I may get a little ranty here, but
all right. Should I put a little warning? Rant ahead.
Yes.
The views and opinions expressed by Janny are not necessarily those of Band Spending Studio, but they probably are of mine.
And this gets back to a little bit more of a targeted listener, because I want to talk about...
Targeted listener.
Yes. Dog showing and dog breeding. There is a standard that you go by. Each breed has a standard that makes it look the way it's supposed to look. So, dachshunds are supposed to be short-legged and long dogs. I mean, it's how the breed's supposed to look. Well, I made a comment regarding this dog it's a Boston that had this big long tail. And anyway, got into a big discussion about what was standard, what wasn't standard. And of course, in the process of that, I got called Hitler because I was talking about breeding dogs a certain way.
Now, for those who don't understand, being called Hitler is called God-winning.
Yes.
That's it. If you've God-winned a sentence by saying, you're just like Hitler, or you say, Trump is like Hitler, or something, that's pretty much, I can't think of anything else, so the conversation's over.
You've ended the argument because
you're all done.
You've gone over the top and used Hitler as a comparison.
You've reached the end of your discussion. Your discussional wall has finally been hit.
So we get into this discussion about breeding to standard, and she says, just let the breed be. Just let it be. Let people breed how they want. The standard is ridiculous. You just, in 20 years, we'll see how Bostons look, because the standard it's outdated and people just shouldn't breed to it anymore.
Well, there's a lot of cars that are outdated. We probably shouldn't make a lot of those.
I said, it's like you have plans for a Corvette and you have a picture of a Corvette and someone builds a pickup and says, yeah, but this is what I like and I'm going to call it a Corvette. It's not a Corvette.
We saw that on the Simpsons where he tried to make his own car. So, okay.
It's like saying, I want to breed long-legged dachshunds. Or I want to breed short, fat greyhounds. It just doesn't make sense.
I want to breed giraffes with shorter necks so we can save the tops of trees.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, your idea of a giraffe is outdated, and there's no reason why you can't just let giraffes be. Well, giraffes are doing their own thing, but...
Now I kind of want to breed giraffes. I want to see what that looks like. I'm going on YouTube after this is all done.
So this is a sore spot for me because people say they love the Boston Terrier breed. They love it. It's a wonderful breed. They wouldn't have any other dog. But don't breed it a certain way. Don't give it a certain look, is what they're saying. And that's how we got into the whole Hitler conversation.
I really wish someone would have told my mom and dad the same thing, because some things turn out a certain way. There's no way to fix this. It turned out a certain way. My brother has red hair and freckles, so...
No, that was the mailman or the milkman or something.
Something's turned out the wrong way.
That's the rumor you guys tell anyway.
So did you have a visual aid?
I was going to... hang on.
You had a visual aid. That's why I wanted to make sure we got it to the video podcast.
Come here.
Not the other visual aid who won't come up because she's busy brewing swamp gas underneath.
Under there. Come here, baby.
All right. This is making...
I got one. Okay.
So if you're watching the video... We now have a giraffe.
Okay.
No, sorry. Okay. I was breeding giraffes in our backyard.
This is what I consider one of our
prettiest
Bostons.
And this one is Opal.
Very good,
because it has the dot on its head that should be an olive, which is the name of the other dog, the sister.
Right?
That's how I can tell them apart. The sister should have the olive on her head. And this one does. So that's how I can tell them apart.
Exactly.
Now there's another sister, and they all keep one eye, and they pass it around.
That's Cher. She just kept the eye and walked off.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for not passing wind during the podcast. I really
the chick is doing a good job under there of that. But it's like, it's like if you were to breed... snort. If you were to put a long nose on this dog, they wouldn't look like a Boston.
No.
How is that hard for people to understand?
If it had like stubby little ears, that's not a...
What if the ears were like all floppy?
Yeah.
Like big and floppy.
That's not the dog that should be the dog. Even I know that.
Yeah. How do you say go ahead and breed them however you want, but we still want them to be a Boston?
It's like when a human and a Vulcan get together. They make Spock. And Spock doesn't look quite like a Vulcan. That's what you got. The mom was all human. All right.
That's a Boston tail.
Really?
That is
We're showing Boston butthole on my podcast.
That's right.
You showed Boston butthole on my podcast.
The whole conversation came out because of the tail. This dog had a tail that was like this, and it was like a full tail. It wasn't. Sometimes Bostons get tails that are a few extra vertebrae, and they can be, long, a little bit weird looking. They can be kind of twisty. They don't have a tail like a lab. This dog had a tail like a lab, and I'm like, I don't think that's purebred, and maybe it's 5 generations back, but...
Folks, hang on 1 second. All right, sorry about that, folks. We had a little technical difficulty. I had my phone is falling off the wall that I have taped with electrical tape because it's professional.
High-tech equipment.
That's
yes.
right. So we're coming up on the 30-minute mark. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. Remember, if you don't want to hear the rest of the podcast, we're going to talk about Janny's dog. And what else are we going to talk? Let's see. The audio missed a little bit from the video. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Janny's dog in the audio. And let's see what else. I'm also going to get to a bunch of emails. I got Diane, Chris, Steve, Hannah, Nadia, Maddie, Hamish, Marla, Farah. I'm going to say Farah because there's no two R's in it. And Luis. And then we're going to get to some Nearly News and all that. So go ahead and go to the link down below. Download the entire audio podcast. We're doing great. I have over 450 subscribers. And it looked like close to 900. It was like 899 downloads last month. So we're climbing every month, and it's really great, and thanks a lot. So go listen to the rest of the podcast, and have a great day. I don't know how to end that.